G'day, Joe. How are you, mate?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, good. Thank you so much for coming on once again to have a conversation about all things shooting and scopes and YouTube and talking with all of our friends on YouTube as well. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I enjoy it. I like doing this. I'm hoping we just moved into a new home. I'm hoping I can get a place set up that's better because this is just kitchen lights. I don't have any of my lights, no microphones, nothing here. I'm just having to go, stream from the iPad, and I hope the volume's good enough that other people can hear us.
Hopefully it's okay. We got Hasbro. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. It's all over the place with all the time zones. So, so I thought, we'd jump straight in. So, I'm curious. You've got a Seiko,
I do.
and that I've seen your video, and I wanted to talk about that obviously because I'm a Seiko fanboy.
You are.
Tell me the story with the Seiko.
With mine?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
I bought it from a guy. His name's Logan, and I bought, I think, 3 guns off of him now. I bought the Seiko. I bought a Weatherby semi-automatic, and I bought something else I can't remember. I bought a couple of guns off of him, and we do some gun swapping. But that's about my 3rd or 4th rimfire Seiko. I've had Seiko 78 in 22 Hornet and 22 long rifle, and then I had another Seiko. I want to say it was a 72. It was a sporter weight gun, and but when I saw this one come up, I'd been seeing yours, and I thought, and I was wanting a Seiko, and I wanted a Steyr. The Steyr, I got a chance at it first, so I took the Steyr, and then when the Seiko come up, I jumped all over it.
Seiko certainly has the I guess legendary status.
Yeah, it does here too. Here it's a premium brand. Seiko, not like super elite, but for most people who work for a living, a Seiko is that's really good. It's like buying a Mercedes or something. It's a really highly thought of rifle here, and Tikkas are too. And but here you see a lot more of the Tikka, whatever it is, T1 or 1X, whatever their little rimfire is. You see a lot more of those than you do Seiko rimfires here in the States.
Yeah, we're very much the same. I'm surprised how you mentioned about the Tikka. For us, I guess the Tikka would be in the similar league as a Lithgow or a CZ.
Yeah.
There's nothing really too crazy between those 3 brands. Seiko, it is more of a premium class rifle here as well. So it's interesting to hear, how the differences between.
Well, see here, like the Lithgow is considered or Lithgow, however you say it, that's considered a premium rifle because we can't get them. So here, there's nobody importing them now. So here they're considered, the harder it is to get something, the more desirable it is like that. So, and I see my buddy Elijah today at the range shooting his all the time. Every time he does, I just want to roll my eyes because I can't locate one. And, but yeah, the CZs here, because every gun shop has them, even though they're super accurate. I mean, they're just flawless. It's like a Remington 700. You can't go wrong with it, but because they're so vanilla, they're just, for me, it's like everybody's got that. And I don't want everybody having the same rifle I got. I want my stuff to be a little different. So, but yeah, I'm on the hunt for a Lithgow right now. I'm on the hunt for a Lithgow and one other rifle. But like I say, I'm on the hunt for 2 more right now. And I just got a Kimber. It's our U.S. marksmanship program. It's Kimber government. It's a big, heavy single shot, and it's a lot like an inch that's 54. And anyway, I just got it. It's back there in the box. When I go back home, I'll be filming videos with it too. But like I say, I stay on the lookout for more rimfires. And I have a special one that's being made for me. I can't talk about, but it'll be here probably by the first of the year. I'm excited about it too, but it's being custom made for me. I just, like I say, one thing I don't know that much about it, and the guy asked me not to mention it. Other than you tell people you got something badass coming, but like I say, I don't know if it'll be here.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Well, is your Kimber more of a Benchrest style of stock, or what sort of stock has it got?
Yeah, it's a big Benchrest silhouette type stock. It's got an entrance rail on it, and I've got one of the new Tier 1 bipods, and I have that FTR, and they also make it in carbon fiber, and I bought one of the carbon fibers, and they gave me a discount on it, but I bought one of the carbon fibers, and it should be here, I don't know, probably, in the next week or two, I'll have it. Before I go back home, I'll be going back home in about 10 days, and when I go back home, I should have the bipod to put under the Kimber to take out there and shoot. But like I say, I'm pretty excited about it, man. I've got a twin size bed back in one of the guest bedrooms right now that's just covered in guns, scopes, and ammo and everything else, because I've been here for about 2 months, and I'm just having everything delivered here. So when I go back home to my old house, I'm gonna have a ton of stuff to shoot.
Got a question from Dan. Have you guys seen the 21 Sharp?
I have.
What's your thoughts?
I think I guess it's a neat idea. I don't see it going anywhere. And I had 5mm Remingtons. I had one of the 17, whatever it was, Winchester Ultra Sonic or some shit like that. It never took off. And but like I say, I had a couple of 5mm. I've had some of the weird 17s and stuff like that. This is going to fall into the same fate. It's going to be something that's going to be neat, just kind of a splash in the pan. But I don't see a way for it to take off, because the pressure's needed to rifle a copper plated bullet. 22s don't make enough pressure to do that. That they can, it'll spin it up, but it's not going to imprint it into the lands like a soft lead bullet will. When Ely, Lapua, and all them start chambering for it, then we got something. But it's I don't know. It's one of those deals. It's the answer to a question nobody asked. As far as I know, nobody wanted that. Nobody was even looking at that. Everybody's been looking at different variations of the 17s and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't see it taking off. I think the only benefit it's got is it'll feed through regular 22 magazines, and it's just going to take a different chamber. But the fact that the bore isn't off size, I think that's what'll kill it. I really do. I think that's the doom of it. If they'd have made it, if it had been oversized by a little bit, and the projectile had been a standard 223, I think it stood a chance. But the way I understand it, it's smaller than that. And if that's the case, it's doomed.
For what I've seen, I don't, as you said, it's not really going to take off. And a lot of the competition guys and the rangers, they simply won't allow any other calibers. It has to be 22 LR.
Right.
When we're shooting, it has to. You can't use any other caliber. Can't use anything else. That's just a part of the rules. So, and as you said, it's who asked for this? It just came out of the woodwork. Like who? What?
Well, and the thing is, if you want hyper velocity, you can buy Stingers and some of those Yellow Jackets, some of those other that are just insanely fast but not accurate. But if you want accurate ammunition, I don't see that ever. I just don't see it going anywhere. And I hate to see guys, if anybody asks me, just my opinion, there's no way in hell I'd buy one. Because if they quit making the ammunition, if sales don't take off, they quit making the ammo, then you're stuck like I was. I had two 5mm Remingtons. One of them was made by, I think it was Cooper. It was an expensive custom rifle. And it was already hard to get ammunition for it. And but then when Remington quit making ammo, they were the only ones that made ammo. They quit making ammo. That's it. It's a rimfire. You can't reload it.
Yeah.
It just becomes an expensive wall hanger.
That's exactly right. Yes, shout out to Hasbro. He really enjoys our videos, shooting and talking trash. So Thanks very much, mate. And same for you, Hasbro. You know, you do some really great videos, and
Oh yeah,
your targets that you put out as well. You know, they're great. They're always good fun to shoot. That's for sure.
yeah. I like the Disney characters and that kind of crap that he prints up. Some of that shit is pretty cool.
Our friend Josh, on a scale to disappointing to mind blowing, what should I expect from a night with Joe? Asking for a friend.
I mean, if you're talking about, sitting around drinking, having fun, we'd have a good time. If you're talking about, let's strip down and put on G-strings, lube each other up and see where it goes. I don't. I'll put it like this. Gosh, I hate to say it, but I'm a selfish lover. I just, I'm all about me. Service me. So, I kind of like to sit back and enjoy. So, I guess the ball's in your court now, Josh.
Josh reckons it's a little bit of P. Diddy style.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We'll need some midgets. I prefer at least one Native American woman, one with the tribal face tattoos. Something like that. I got to do that, But I moved down. I'm in the Austin, Texas area now, and I saw one of these. I say Eskimos. That's not the right word to use anymore. I don't mean that in a racist way. I can't think of what you're supposed to say. But I seen one of them that had the tattoos, like kind of like a goatee without a mustache, little tattoos and shit. And it was cool as hell. I mean, she was a good-looking girl, so it wouldn't have mattered. She could have been wearing a watermelon. She'd look good, but it was cool though seeing the tattoos that went down, because that's the first time I've seen it in person here in Texas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's very also the face tattoos are very popular with the Maoris as well, from New Zealand. That's another very the culture. They do a lot of face tattoos. So yeah, no, it's really cool.
Yeah, here Mike Tyson, I think, was the first one jumped off with the face tattoos, and now, at least here in the States, if it was something tribal like that, it probably wouldn't hurt. But if you get this is just an old man talking. But if you get a face tattoo, you're basically saying, I want a manual labor the rest of my life. You're never going to get an executive job, or maybe you will at 20 or 30 years, but older conservative men of every race run the big country, men and women run these big corporations, and they're not going to hire somebody that comes in and they're covered up in tattoos and stuff. Now, this being said, I run around with Ton Jones, who's very successful and is absolutely covered in tattoos. He's got the big bald head tattoo, the hoop earrings, and everything else. But Ton's kind of a one-off. Somebody like me that has zero personality, zero skills, and is a dumbass. I don't need anything else hurting me. I need to take every chance I can to get ahead. I don't need.
You're not going to get one of those teardrop tattoos?
No. And like I say, I live in the South, man, and it'd be different up north or in the bigger cities, California, or on the East Coast or something. But here in the South, man, if we got running water and indoor plumbing, it's like, yes, yeah. And we really did something, a stand-up shower shit. We got something here. So, like I say, we're about a generation behind the rest of the country. Josh can verify; he's from the South.
Living the high life, running water, hot showers.
That's it. And I tell people a lot. When I was a kid, I was in high school before I ever lived in a home that had air conditioning. And bear in mind, here in the summer, it's hot and it's humid, but we never had air conditioning growing up, and none of the schools did either. I didn't go to a school that had air conditioning until I started high school. None of our schools had air conditioning either. They just had big windows and fans, and a bunch of stinky ass kids, But when you're all stinking together, you don't think about it, Now, shit, if it's above about 90 degrees, I try to keep my ass inside.
Josh, if toothbrushes were made anywhere else, it would have been a teeth brush.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. We won't do right.
I remember when I was younger, I was probably 16, 17 years old, and I just moved out of home, and similar sort of climate to where you are. It's very hot, humid. You always it's just terrible. And in that house I lived in, we didn't have air conditioning. And one year I finally convinced my old man to put an air conditioner into this house, and he put the air conditioner just in the lounge room only. Anyway, this one summer, it was probably the hottest summer that we've ever had. And I decided to drag my mattress out from my bedroom into the lounge room so I could sleep in the air conditioning and enjoy. One particular weekend, my parents just had to come down because I live roughly 2 hours drive from my parents. And one weekend they decided to come down, visit, and do a few appointments and whatnot. And my parents are probably very old school, that sort of very old school, strict mentality. You sleep in your bedroom. That's your place. That's where you should be.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got a little bit in trouble. Like Dad had a bit of a crack and a bit of a dig at me about, oh, why are you sleeping on the floor? You're being a bum. Sleep in your bedroom. Your bedroom's made for a reason. And I thought, okay, no worries. Anyway, I went resting, air conditioning, and they went into the spare bedroom. I can tell you, 5 minutes later, they dragged their mattress out onto the floor and slept out in the air conditioning as well.
We had a big family get together over at one of my cousin's houses, and they had got a window unit. And I mean, one of these old ones where it dims electricity all over the neighborhood when it starts up. And they had a window unit in the master bedroom, but we had got together for July 4th, and it was miserable. I mean, absolutely miserable. We woke up the next day, there was me, my brother and sister, about 7 cousins, and about 6 adults. The adults were laid in there stacked up like cordwood in the bed, and the kids were laid everywhere. And we had that door closed, and the bathroom wasn't in there. And every time somebody get up and go to the bathroom, it's like, man, get in and out of that door, because the rest of the house, it was just, it was bad. But looking back on it now, it's like, how did I survive? But you get used to it. And we vacation a lot of times in the Caribbean, and the first time I get there, the first day or two, man, I'm just dying. It's 100 degrees, 100% humidity. It's raining. It's just miserable. But after a day or two, your body starts adjusting to it. But that ain't an adjustment I'm willing to go back on. If I can't afford anything else, I'm gonna have the damn air conditioning running. If we have to go outside and shit in an oil can, that's what we'll do. But we're going to run that. We ain't got plumbing, tough shit. We go out there and bathe in a water hose, but we're that air conditioning staying on.
I prefer the heat. I couldn't live in the cold like some of these guys that live in Alaska and those sort of places. Minus 30 degrees. I couldn't do it. No way.
So there's only one time in my whole life I've ever seen deep snow, and I was hunting in Colorado, and it got up to about my knees. And I mean, I'm in full blown, Lord of the Flies mode. I'm ready to start killing my cousins and skinning them and stuff. And it melted off after it snowed like that. But I'd never seen anything like, say, knee-high snow. That was something I've never seen in my life. But walking through that stuff, it was amazing to me. I see why people have snowshoes now. I couldn't believe how hard it was to walk in. That just amazed me how hard it was. It's a lot like a beach with real soft sand. It's a workout to walk in it. But I just, when that happened, I curled up underneath. There was a tree that had fallen. I got underneath that tree, and I had one of those space blankets, curled up in that space blanket. And when I woke up, I literally couldn't see anything but white. The snow had gotten all the way up to this tree, and it was just the sunlight coming through the snow was the only thing keeping light going in there. And then I panicked, thought I'm going to suffocate. Like I say, I've never been around that, so I don't know. We hear stories about people, in the Dakotas carrying water and fire sticks, and knives and, all kinds of shit, and roadkill cookbooks, like I said, we don't worry about that here. The only thing you're going to do here is, have a heat stroke.
Yeah, that's it.
We don't ever have anything like that. And I've never lived up north. So like I say, that's all new shit to me.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. No way. Not at all. So I want to talk about scopes. You know, you just put out a video. I think it was my time this morning. I think it was beginner scopes. Let's talk about beginner scopes and where did that come from? How did you get into the scopes, and what are other recommendations can you have?
I got into it because I was wanting to do YouTube videos because I thought it was fun, and I had sold off a whole bunch of rifles. I had a lot of really nice rimfires at one time and some nice centerfire. And luckily I did. And I'd sold them as I was off for, I had cancer and I was off for that and the rehab for a real long time, about 3 years. And I didn't work maybe 6 months. So I was off a lot and I was enjoying making videos. So I started doing scope videos and I was watching these other guys' scope videos and I thought, they suck. I mean, they suck ass, you know. Be like right now if I was holding the camera up, which this sucks, but I don't have my camera stuff here. But I don't have a good camera, I don't have good lighting or anything else. But these guys are YouTubers full time and they're doing scope videos and they're just holding their phone up behind it. It's just like this. And it's like, this sucks. There's got to be a way to do better than that. So I got it in my head. I was going to figure out how to do it. And, you know, well over $10,000 worth of cameras and experimenting and stuff later, I finally figured out how to get the footage like I wanted it. But I just, and once I started doing it, I didn't set out to be the scope guy. I just had a bunch of scopes. I wanted to do airgun videos. That was my passion getting on YouTube. And I got on there to try to help other guys because I was rebuilding air guns. I was doing some reviews, but I was showing guys how to rebuild them and work on them. And then when I started doing scopes, I realized there's a difference between stupid and ignorant. Ignorant on the subject is you don't have any information to go on. Stupid is knowing the information, but you're still going to pick wrong. You know, you're a dumbass. And I didn't realize how many guys were ignorant to rifle scopes. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just don't know, or not very well versed, or they didn't know much about them. And then you start going to the gun shops, and I have no idea what it's like that there. But here you go into gun shops, and everybody's a know-it-all. Everybody knows everything. You know, there's nobody in the gun shop going, well, not me. I don't know shit. You know, and but so a lot of guys get frustrated when they're around that atmosphere, which is toxic, and it's stupid that some shops do that. But anyway, guys were asking for advice, and some of the stuff they would ask, it was like, you know, do I look through the big end or the other end? Because when I look through the big end, it looks like everything's too far away, you know. And I mean, I'm talking about down to that level of basics. And I like trying to help folks if I can. And I realized making scope videos that would help people, you know, that'd be something I could do to help them instead of rebuilding air guns. And to be fair, there's a lot of air gun channels out there, and all of them are better than mine was. Mine sucked, but I thought, you know, I'll see if I can make the highest quality and the best resolution through the scopes for the videos, and then the videos that are most helpful. And I don't have any sponsors. I don't take any money up front for any videos, which is stupid because I could. But I like being able to give honest videos because, you know, to some guys, a $3,000 scope is a drop in the hat. There's other guys that a $300 scope is a major purchase. I mean, a major ass purchase, you know, and you don't know where everybody else is at. So, you know, the guy that can afford to drop $3,000 and get a bum scope, oh, well, you know, Richie Rich, who the fuck cares, you know? But the guy that's struggling to purchase a bargain scope and try to get something where he can get his money's worth, you know, I take a lot of pride in that, man. And I'm not this guy that when I go to these shooting events and stuff, you know, I have a good time, but I don't go there to, you know, for pats on the back. You know, that's not when I'm there. I'm not there to get recognized, take pictures and all that shit. I'm there to hang out with the guys. You could ask Josh. We've been to some of the same shooting events. I don't even shoot 99% of the time. I just go to hang with the guys and have fun and talk shit. But guys coming up that are new to it, that come up and it's like, hey man, I wanted to thank you. You know, your videos helped me a lot, man. Helped me pick out winners. That, like I said, I take that part of it serious, because I can remember a time when buying a $300 scope was, I mean, it's out of the question. It's just no way, I can't do it. You know, it's like I'll have to use one of my old scopes or go to the pawn shop, see if I can find an old beat up scope. You know, and as you know, as you go through your life, you have financial ups and downs, and you know, and like I said, you never know where anybody else's pocketbook is. You know, you don't know. They got 4 kids at home, another one on the way, 2 car payments, a house, and you know, or somebody else that, you know, mom and dad pay for everything. They can buy any damn thing they want. Well, you know, more power to you. But there's a lot. You know, I tell guys a lot. There's a hell of a lot more Walmarts than there are Neiman Marcus stores. So the majority of the market are the guys that shop at Walmart that are at the same gun shops I go to, not the Beretta store, but just the regular local gun shops. And those are the guys I try to cater my scope videos to. Occasionally I'll do a tier 1 scope. I have one on the way. It'll be here tomorrow. But the majority of them, I try to stay under $1,000 if I can. You know, I mean, if somebody just releases a new scope, I'm not going to turn it down. I mean, it's stupid to, but I try to keep the majority of my videos on the easier to purchase scopes. And that's the reason a lot of the companies that I work real closely with, Josh and I both work real closely with Track and Leupold. They have some nice, you know, more budget friendly scopes, Arc and Blackhound. There's quite a few of them out there that have, you know, a good variety and a good selection of more budget friendly scopes. And that's where I try to focus on. Because I mean, I've been blessed that my channel's grown. Why it has, I have no damn idea. But because it has, when I reach out to these companies or they reach out to me, I can ask for tier 1 stuff. You know, I could, if I talk to Vortex, I can ask for the Gen 3 Razor. But when I talk to them, I'll tell them, you know, let me have the new 3-18 Venom. You know, don't send me the Zeiss LR5. Send me the Conquest V4 that's $700. Because the LR5 is great. You know, don't get me wrong, but the $3,000 scopes, for me, it's like if I was looking for, and I've been looking for an additional camera. I broke one of my cameras. I'm not looking at $6,000 cameras. There's no need. I can't afford it. And I remember a reviewer that I used to watch that did a lot of scope reviews, and I loved his channel. But he started doing nothing but Smith Bender, Zeiss, Sikorsky, Calls, the high-end night forces. You know, I mean, everything he did was above $2,000. And after a while, it was neat, but it's like, you know, you're not showing me anything I can afford anymore. You know, so it just, I don't know. You know, like I say, I try to stay in a range that most of the guys that watch my channel will enjoy. I mean, occasionally I'll throw in, I've got one back there right now that's $139. And I'll put the same amount of time in that video as I will on the $3,000 scope I got coming. Because the guys that are looking under $150, they're just as interested in that video as the guy looking at the $3,000 video. So I don't want to shortchange it. But a lot of on the budget scopes like that, when I'm through with them, I just give them all away because, you know, to sell it and ship it and, you know, to make a very small amount of money off of it, I'd rather just give it to somebody and, you know, be out at the range or like, you know, one of my relatives or buddies or something like that. Because all the guys that run around with me, they all got scopes. You know, none of my close hunting buddies, they don't need scopes. So, you know, they could use more guns to put under the scopes, but we got plenty of scopes because I do about one video a week on a scope, 52 weeks in a year. And this month was 8 years I've been doing it. So you do the math, that's a shitload of scopes.
Yeah.
You know, I've been through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And like I said, I realized nobody else was making videos that were trying to help guys like that with the optics. So I just thought, hell, I'll do this, you know, and now I really like it, man. I mean, I love it. You know, I don't take myself serious. I don't take the subscriber numbers, how fast it's growing and all that stuff. I don't really take any of that serious, but the honest opinion in the videos, I take that real serious. I really, really do. And I alienate a lot of the companies because I'll say something like, a good example of the new Arkin 7 to 35 for its price range and what it brings to the market. That just my personal opinion. This is somebody that does hundreds of scopes. I don't think you can touch it. But the key phrase there is in that price range. Josh will tell the exact same thing. Joel through the accuracy, the same thing. But when guys go on there like me that have a dog in the fight, because I am an affiliate, I do get a percentage of the sale when somebody uses my coupon or links or whatever. And guys will have a financial stake in it, and they'll say something stupid like, well, the Night Force Attacker is a 7 to 35. This is just as good. No. It is not. It is not. I'm the same age as Tom Cruise. I don't look like Tom Cruise. I'm not Tom Cruise just because we're the same age. The numbers line up. That don't make sense, and the scopes are the same way, man. There's a reason that Attacker costs over $3,000. I mean, there's a reason. Anybody that's ever used one, I mean, you can't deny that's an incredible scope. The Gen 3 Razor, man, it is a beast. Now, whether or not it meets your little particular needs, maybe or maybe not, but it's an incredible optic. And there's nothing that's going to be $500, $600, $700 that's going to touch something like that. And the guys that say that their budget scopes will, you're either ignorant, which that's the best case scenario, or you're a damn liar. And if you have a platform, and if somebody's looking for honest opinions, and that's something I really value in Josh and Elijah. Both of them I really, really, because they do a lot of product stuff too. They'll tell you flat out, it's good at this, it's not good at that. They're not sugarcoating it. They're not worried about whether or not the company will send them another scope. Fuck it. If it's a piece of shit scope from a piece of shit company, I don't want to do another one anyway. And there's been several companies that have reached out to me. They'll send me the scope and just unbox it. And I mean, just look through it and just put it back in the box, and I'm sending it right back, man. And they're like, seriously? It's like, man, this is not going to help you if I do this video. If you want me to do it, I will sure do it, because people love to see something crash and burn. But it's like, nah, I appreciate you thinking of it, but hell no, I'm not doing it. And that's where there's a lot of companies I just don't fool with, because I already know their stuff is junk. So like I said, I take the honesty part real serious, man. And that, like I said, that's the reason I'm so proud of like Josh. Josh eventually will be doing this for a living. I have no doubt. He's just so good at it. But I'm really proud for him that he does the same way.
Exactly right. Like all you guys that are doing the reviews and everything like that. Look, and you see in your comments, like you look through any of your videos, Joe, anything, all the comments say thank you for the honesty, and it's just reflective across the whole board, and that's where everybody loves your channel. And like I know the video that I just did with the Lithgow, the scope that's sitting on top of that, my mate purchased that scope based on your recommendations. He's seen your video and was able to purchase it. He was able to make that choice and spend the money, and and that's because of the honesty. You guys, like you, Josh, and all the other guys, you're not talking shit. You're not leading people down the road, and you're not from an outside perspective. You guys are not sugarcoating things just for a little bit of sponsorship.
Yeah, believe there, money on the table. We're definitely leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
But we're not just, But the thing for me is, they can't. I was lucky enough to date several girls through school when I was growing up. My wife is by far the most beautiful girl that I dated. And I'm not saying that because of my wife. She's not going to see this, but she is. But they're not all 10s, and if you're reviewing stuff and they're all perfect, then you're full of shit, especially if you review a bunch of them. They can't all be perfect. There's going to be downsides to, when you're doing comparisons, there's downsides to almost anything. And when it's all perfect, then in my mind, it's all lies. You know, if you're not willing to say something negative, then, you know, you're willing to sell out the people that watch your channel that maybe trust in your opinion for some money. For pieces of
Yeah.
paper with numbers on it, you're going to sell out. But I don't know, man. I just, like I say, I just don't have it in me, man. I don't care. And the good companies, because there's about 15 companies that you'll see their optics over and over on my channel. They all have one thing in common: not the quality, not the price, not, you know, where they fall in the market. Every one of those have one thing in common. If I say something negative about it, which I will, they're like, "You're right, man. We'll work on that."
Yeah.
Vortex, you can't say anything bad about Vortex and deal with them. Now, I do some Vortex reviews, but I do it through Optic Force. But dealing with Vortex directly, absolutely not. EOTech, hell no. Trigon, no freaking way. You're not going to say something bad about our stuff, you know. Leupold, for one of the big vendors, Leupold just takes it right on the chin. They're tough as hell. You can ask Josh. He's been doing some stuff with them, man. Leupold takes it right on the chin and just keeps on rolling, man. They're tough. Like I said, they got nuts, man. And I enjoy spending time with those guys, you know, when I do see them. Because, you know, I'm not going to walk around like a little bitch, and you shouldn't either. You know, if you call my big ass fat, you didn't lie. You know, you just said something that was obvious. And if I say your turrets suck, I just said what was obvious. You know, I didn't call your, you know, your old lady a whore, you know, or anything else. You know, it's just, hey, man, that scope sucks.
So, got a question from Dan. 5x25 by 56 Arcanor Discovery.
I haven't tried the new Discoveries, and I had a real bad experience with that brand about 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm not interested in trying them anymore. They may be fantastic. I couldn't tell you. But like I say, I had a bad experience with them. You know, it's kind of like if a girl gives you the clap, you don't need to sleep with her again. And it's one of those type of deals. I had just a bad experience with them, and I'm not interested in doing anything with Discovery anymore. You know, I don't mean it personally. You know, I just had a real bad experience with them. So, you know, I'm out. I'm not. That's one of the brands, and I'm not mad at them. They were nothing but nice to me. But I just had a bad experience in quality wise and following up on warranty work and stuff like that. But that was years ago. You know, they may be great now. I'm just not interested in finding out.
That's fair enough.
Channel at one time, I had about 8 Discovery videos. Excuse me, if you look on my channel now, none of them are there. Because when their quality fell off, I just took all the videos off.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want somebody else buying it, and you know it was shit. But what else you got, man?
Got a few people we can say g'day to. We got Long Rifle, Walnut and Steel, Old Nibs, Kentucky, KFW. Gosh, I've got a mind blank. I'm very sorry. Obviously, Josh TJ here as well. He's got a Centerfire and a Nico Sterling Target Master, $220, and he shoots a 6.5 out to 900 yards. So, you know, certainly shows right there that you don't need $3,000 to go shooting.
Not at all. You know, and like a lot of what Josh does, I know I've heard people complain, man, he only does all this higher tier stuff. Josh is a competitive shooter. I'm not talking about competitive with his buddies like I am with my buddies. Josh is a competitive on a national level, and that you need the good optics to see them rise. You need to be able to see your impacts. You need to see where you missed, and you need to see it in flight. That's the reason Josh shoots so much Ely ammunition. The bullets are a lighter colored lead, and you can see them in flight. As crazy as that sounds, but you can't do that with cheap optics. You got to have good optics. You know, Josh plays to win. I don't blame him. When I was shooting competitively, I did too. You know, and if this gives you an edge and you have that in your bag, who wouldn't use it? You know, so, but like I say, for me, I'm just out there dicking around. I need it to hold 0. And I don't need stuff wobbling around on it. And I don't want something, you know, I don't want something that's like, I don't know, man. You know, I don't want a scope that I feel bad about. You know, I don't know. You know, where it's like, I don't want nobody seeing this. What a piece of shit. You know, pick this up off Amazon. You know, if I can't enjoy it, I'll just do without. You know, I'll just use a lower power scope or buy a used one. I buy a lot of I mean, I still do buy used scopes, even though I get scopes free every week. I still buy a few used scopes. I just bought a Leupold FX3 12 power with a target dot in it. About 2 weeks ago. It's back there in a box. When I get back home, I'll play with it, and it's about a 20-year-old scope. But it's one that I like, and you can't find. There's nothing quite like it now. So I wanted another one. I bought it.
Hasbro, you guys, Joe, I've told Josh this, but you two have saved me a lot of dollars. Starts with the honest reviews, then showing the real performance, and of course the nipple twisters.
Yeah, of course. Oh God, that's my home run swing. But yeah, like I say, I really think real highly of Josh because his channel is growing. Josh's channel will be a lot bigger than mine, and it's not going to take long. You know, his channel is on a lot more upward trajectory than mine it has ever been. I mean, Josh is better at it than I am, but the fact that his channel is growing and he's still willing to stick to his values, even though he has, like I say, he's leaving money on the table by not going around sucking everybody's ass. You know, I respect that. I really do.
Exactly right. And Josh mentioned before, being honest, unfortunately, rarely pays the bills in social media. That's why we're broke as hell.
Yeah, if we was
very true.
You'd be calling me and Josh up and be like, man, fuck you, hell. I got too damn much money, man. We're at the strip joint. I ain't wasting time with you. But yeah, but like I say, we should keep plugging along. Oh, what do I think of the Delta Striker HD, the 50 by 50 by 56? I have had that exact scope. It is a beast. And here in the States, I don't know where Jason's at, but here in the States on the F-class shooters, because they use second focal plane, that scope is blowing up. Everybody that sees it just goes nuts. The guy that owns Delta, his name is it Greg or Gregory. The guy that owns Delta actually is an engineer and he designs microscopes. That's what he does. And he got into optics, got into the sporting optics. And it's just my opinion, but Josh can say, he can jump in here too, but most scope lines, they have a $1,500 scope, give or take a couple of $100. That Striker's one of them. Then they have the first focal plane. All of those scopes come out of Light Optical Works. All of them have kind of the same internals. That's the reason there's so many 4.5 to 30, 4.8 to 27. Those all have the same internal assemblies. From a manufacturing standpoint, you can't reinvent the wheel without having to pay for the tooling. But they have different qualities, glass, the coatings, the actual design of them. And Josh and I have seen all of them. And just my opinion, in that price range, the three best are the Tractor HD without a doubt, the Delta Striker HD without a doubt, and if you can catch it on sale, the Leupold Mark V HD, but it has to be on sale because those stay up around $2,000. But the GPO, I can't think of what model that is, but GPO has one that's in that same price range. It's equal to. Now the Athlon Cronus, that's a good one, but it's getting a little long in the tooth. And I've been around it so much now that I don't think about it. It's the same quality, but the different coatings and stuff that Track uses and that Greg at Delta uses, because they know optics so insanely well, and the guy that does GPO, the image is just a little better. It's just a little better. And some of the optics that are like that, but they'll have like the little short tubes and the great big bell in the front. The ones that I've had some good ones. I had the EOTech Voodoo, the Maven, the Bushnell DMR. I've had quite a few that are built, they look similar. They look like a skinny dick with a swelled up head, on the front of it. But every one of those that I've looked through, the actual image downrange is crystal clear, but there's a curvature to it. It's got a little bit of a pincushion type effect. And it's just, the optics are what they are. And if you're doing something really radically different, you're giving something up. What that is, I mean, you don't know, is it eye relief? Is it field of view? Is it the fact that the image is curved like that? The only thing that I've used personally that has that great big swelled up front end that is shorter on the front but it's long on the back is the Valdotta. But because it has such a long back end, you get the length that you need to get the image. But a lot of those, I'm skeptical of those scopes that I see that are, 56 millimeter bells, but the scope's 13 or 14 inches long. Okay, there's a drawback in here because otherwise that's what everybody would do. So, when you reduce so many scopes, you pick up on it right away. You don't have to put a camera on it and put it in a fixture. You just when you pick it up, you can say, okay, that's what they traded. So like I say, everything's a trade-off, but some of that stuff, man, you can screw up. But the deltas, I've never had a single delta, not one, that I didn't feel like it. The delta, I put them right there with the track. For the money that you spend, you can buy different, but you didn't necessarily buy better. And there's several companies like that. Track, Leupold, GPO, Athlon, to a certain degree, and they price their stuff at reasonable prices. You get a lot of value, and guys complain, well, the Leupold, you're gonna pay for this, and they do cripple a lot of their scopes. They won't put their best reticles. They only put it in the most premium scopes. They do like camera companies do. They cripple it down when it wouldn't take any longer to put the reticle in there, but they're trying to move you up the market.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just a marketing strategy and it works. But, like I say, if you bought nothing but GPO, Leupold, Track, Athlon, Deltas, you'd be set. I mean, you'd be set forever.
Got a question from Valak. Hey, Cyclops, any experience with the PA SLX 3 to 16 by 50? He's looking to buy it used and didn't see a video on your channel. Thanks, man. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, I'd look at something else. Just being fair, I would look at something else. The PLX line is a more premium line, and it's really nice. The SLX, which it was silver, gold, and platinum, I think is what it originally. But the SLX line, they're okay, but there's nothing I've seen in the XLX line that I would go, that's the one. That's the one. I get excited talking about the Delta Strike or the Track Toric or, like say, one of the GPOs. There's nothing about the primary arms that I've tested that I've got really excited about. It's a good group of guys, and I mean, hell, the shop's 2 hours from where I live right here. Like I say, it's a great bunch of guys that work there, and but there's nothing about it that, just go, holy shit, primary arm, whoa, God, And I see Josh Leupold drives me nuts with the reticle option. Yeah, that's exactly right. Josh knows what I'm talking about the camera companies using the cripple hammer, where it's like, all it is software. You can update the software and it will do the things you want it to do, but they purposely leave it out. So you have to go up the food chain. It doesn't take any longer to etch a Christmas tree reticle than it does a duplex in a piece of glass with a laser. Both of them are, I mean, it's over just like that, but they won't put it in there because they're trying to move you up, their particular, stepping stones at Leupold, and they're kind of unique in the fact that they still do it, and everything Leupold makes starts with a duplex. I mean, they invented the duplex. Good deal, man. That's 100 years ago. Literally, seriously, that's 100 fucking years ago that you invented it. Quit falling back on that.
Yeah.
Quit it. Go ahead and jump ahead. And the thing is, like, I don't know, man, some of these other companies, if Leupold decided, we're fixing to take over the $500 to $1,500 range scopes, we're going to drop in our best features with better glass made here in the United States, they blow everybody up. But because there's 600 people work there, I'm assuming it's a big bureaucracy to change anything. They move creepingly slow, and it hurts them, especially the precision shooting market. I wouldn't have any idea, but I haven't been to any precision shoot and seen Leupold really represented. There might be a Leupold rep there. There might be one of their shooters are giving free scopes to, and maybe somebody there on the first time, but there's nobody else there with it. They just like I said, that they move too slowly. The market changes, and they don't advance. They don't jump in there fast.
Yeah.
And that's where companies like Tract, GPO, there's a small handful of guys. They're really plugged in. They see what the market is, and they change. It may take a year. They design something else, and it changes. And you got to, if you're not changing, man. If you don't evolve, you go extinct.
So, what are your thoughts about the Burris full field?
That makes some solid stuff. I'd buy it over the primary arms. Without it, I don't know. I don't want to think about that. Yeah, get that over the primary arms for sure.
Yeah,
like I said, that's my opinion.
Australian Firearms. G'day, guys. How are you? Hope you're having a great day. It's Happy Sunday. Yeah, it's good to see some Aussies kicking around. Under 400 meters, would you choose a 308 or a 270 for hunting in Australia? Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. So, hunting question.
Shit. I'd go with a 270. If it was, I don't know, if it might get further than that, I'd probably go with 308 because you go with such a heavier bullet, but you get those super high ballistic coefficient 270s. But I've never personally owned a 270 Winchester, but I've owned two 270 Weatherby's, and I've never seen anything. And I've owned a bunch of different Weatherby's, a bunch of Magnum rifles. I've never seen anything kill a deer as dead as a 270 Weatherby will. You hit a deer with a 270 Weatherby because all those bullets are designed for 270 Winchester, and you're pushing it to the point it's almost coming apart in flight. You shoot a deer with that thing, man. It's like a hand grenade going off in the front of it. It's unbelievable the amount of damage. I literally have blown legs off coyotes on the opposite side, shoot a deer up in the neck, and shell shock the meat all the way to the hands. It's incredible the damage it does. So I got kind of a soft spot for the 270s, but only for the 270 Weatherby. I've had a bunch of 308s, and those are reliable as hell. And probably if you're going to shoot factory ammo, it's a lot easier to get accurate ammunition for a 308. Long rifle says 270. You know what, long rifle? You see how I said "fuck you" without saying it? That's a special. That's a special gift. Not everybody can do that, but I only got the one out, but I said "fuck you." But
g'day, Trinity. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. What do we got, Trinity? Your question: what's your max range for hunting? LPVO.
I don't know, man. See, I live in timber country. I just moved to the hill country, but I live in timber country, and honestly, most deer are shot within 50 or 60 yards. So any LPVO work, 1 to 4, work like a charm. I hunted with my main deer rifle has a 6x42 Me Optus sitting on top of it, and I don't feel challenged in any way. My 280 Remington has a 8x56 column sitting on top of it, and I've used it out to 300-400 yards. So like I said, I don't know. I don't get to hit a target. If we're out there, okay, we're going to shoot at poker chips. Okay, yeah, let's crank the magnification and everything else. To hit something the size of a deer at that distance, if you judge the wind right and you got the elevation, it doesn't take that much magnification to knock it down. The furthest shot I've ever made was 1,248 yards on a prairie dog. I shot it with a 10 power SWFA, a 10 power scope, and it was over 3/4 of a mile. You don't have to have that much magnification to the distance. It's just a matter of how precise do you want to be. And to be fair, we were kind of lobbing them in there, because it was a very small target. But it doesn't take, you don't need a 32 power scope to shoot a deer. You just don't need it. And places where you can shoot that distance, you can't even use it. Because if it's flat, there's nowhere in the world, if it's flat ground and you're shooting 500 or 600 yards and you're, at human height, you can't use that magnification. The mirage is going to get you. If the sun's up, the mirage has got you. You can't see through it. You can't see through it. And that's where good glass trumps all that in good coatings, because in most scopes, there's, 12, 13, 15, 16 elements in there. And that light's just bouncing back and forth like crazy between each one of them. And each one of them needs, certain coating, certain precision to let that light come through. And the best example I saw of that when I was prairie dogging, a buddy of mine had a 10 power Vorsky. I had a 10 power SWFA, and I'm a big fan of SWFA. We were looking, and you could see prairie dogs out there at about 600 yards. Through my scope, you could only see about 400 yards, and it was just like a silver moving mirror out there, and you could just see an outline. You could pick that Vorsky up and look right through it. I mean, you look right freaking through it. You could see the mirage, but you could actually see the animal. It wasn't just an outline shadow, and it was because the light inside of it, same magnification. Both of them were 10 by 42s, but because the glass, the coatings and everything is so much better, it wasn't doing all that refracting and reflecting and stuff inside the scope. It was letting the image come through instead of bouncing around like crazy, so good glass. Like I say, I've got access to a lot of scopes. All of my hunting scopes have one thing in common. They all got good glass, and all of them are low magnification. Even my prairie dog scopes, they got, one of them's got a 4 to 16 size on it, but everything's 10 power and under. I don't hunt with anything with high magnification, but I don't live out west. I don't, there's no reason for it here. The field of view in the darkness it's not worth it. I'd rather spend my money on glass quality than magnification.
Trinity just wants to know, what's your max range for hunting with the LPVO?
I don't know, 300 yards. If it's a 1 to 6, 1 to 8, and the deer come out there at 300 yards and I had a steady rest, I wouldn't hesitate to shoot it. I did, but some of the LPVOs, like we were talking about the primary arms, some of the primary arms with that huge arch, horseshoe looking thing and the big chevron that they want to put in everything, blocks out so much area that I might not take the shot. But if it was a duplex or something with a floating dot, yeah, I'll shoot. If the reticle is going to obliterate the target, yeah, I'm not going to fire. But if I can see animal all the way around the crosshair and I can tell where I'm at on the animal and I know the gun will shoot, yeah, I'll take it at 300 yards.
Yeah.
But
especially,
it's amazing. And I tell guys a lot, when you go to the rifle range, there's always no car tire laying around somewhere. If you can shoot through the center of that car tire, if you can aim in the center of that car tire, you got enough magnification, because that's about the size of a deer's chest, is the size of the inside of a car tire, and that's big. And if you hit him with the right caliber, his ass is going
down. Another question from Trinity. In November 2024, what's your best sleeper scope up and coming for target or long range?
The best sleeper scope will be announced in about probably before Christmas. That's a budget target scope. It'll be announced. You'll see it on my channel. My favorite target scopes are and I Benchrest shoot like you do, Alan. I'm not shooting precision, but I still like the Weaver T24s. I like the Leupold 36s. I like the Leupold 45 by 45. And when I'm shooting on a bench and I'm really, really serious, I don't like variable powers. That's just, I know that changed magnification, the amount that it actually moves the point of impact is super tiny, but I want that tiny. I want it, and Benchrest shooters, at least here, they have what are called frozen scopes. The internals don't even move. Everything is done externally on big knobs, because when you start moving the inside, you're relying on the springs to move it back to the exact same place and never impact that it will move. So I've owned several frozen scopes, and like I say, the only way you can adjust it, but the outside, I mean, it's like a micrometer. You don't touch it, it won't move. You know, that's just one less thing to move, and I'm sure there's some out there, but I've never been to the range with somebody that's a really accomplished Benchrest shooter shooting a variable power scope. Like I said, I know there's some out there, and there's probably this, you know, that'll probably make me a liar now that I said that, but I'm older. You know, when I was shooting Benchrest 20, 25 years ago, if you had a variable power scope, you can go ahead and pack your shit up. You know, seriously, if you didn't have a 6 PPC, you can go to the house. You know, I mean, you show up with a 222, which was the big Benchrest thing. You show up with that, and we got PPCs. Oh yeah, you can pack that shit up. You ain't got a chance. You know, there's no way you can beat it. The cartridge design is more accurate, but like I say, I get kind of off in the weeds on that. You know, some of the Benchrest stuff because I'm opinionated. And it's not opinionated because I read it. It's opinionated because I did it and I wasted money on that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck. You know, I never learned anything from a fight I won, but I learned a shitload from the ones where I got my ass whooped. I know, okay, next time don't do that. Hit that guy with the brick. You know, don't wait until the pushing. You know, go ahead and end it fast, you know. But like I say, I learned a lot more from my failures than I have from anything I did right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I've done that so many times too. And I look at some of the gear that I've got sitting in my cupboard and I'm like, why did I do that?
Well, I got a good friend I sent a $800 camera to here just a while back, and it was the same way. Like, the hell did I do that for? You know, it's like I just got a wild hair, had a little money, and I bought the damn thing. And I had it for probably a year, and I bought it for videos. And in that year, all combined, it's probably a total of 2 minutes on videos that actually use that thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Another question from Australian Firearms. Great answer, boys. Thank you. What's your thoughts on the CZ600 Alpha? Buy it. It's a great one. Looking at one of them in a 308 and a Mauser M18 in 270. Your thoughts?
Oh, I don't know. I've never used them, man. You lay in there, let him know, dude. I don't have any ideas.
Oh, like one of my mates, I haven't personally used it, but like one of my mates has a CZ600, and he literally sleeps with it, spoons with it, he does everything with it. I swear, it's his new girlfriend. The amount of things that he does with that rifle. So the CZ600, quite a few of them are being used at the ranges that I've seen, and everybody highly rates them. I'm not too sure about the Mauser, but I've just seen a lot of people using that CZ600, and maybe I might get one day, but I'm looking more so towards other styles of shooting. But for what I've seen, the CZ600 everybody raves about, so definitely one of the good ones.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know anything about them. I'd rather just say I don't know than to sit there and, well, yeah, I'll tell you about that shit. And I've never laid hands on one. I'll give an honest review of an original Inertal. I've had a couple of Inertals, and they're incredible. They really are. And they're just, they're easy to damage. They're really, really easy to damage. If you don't case your guns and carry it to the range and back and forth, it's just because it's so long. And they're really easy to damage, and they're into floating adjustable bases and stuff like that. But for what they do, yeah, they're the shit. They're really nice. They're good glass, and to me, they really look good when they start getting that patina, where they start getting the purple and browns and stuff, and where they start changing color and age, and that's when an Inertal looks good. You show me a brand new solid blue Inertal, I don't want that son of a bitch. But you showed me one with a couple of hundred micro dings in it that's starting to turn that plum brown and stuff. It's like, how much you want for that? I get that on top of my rifle. I'll mount it. Oh, there's Eagle Eye.
G'day, Kenny.
My buddy. I talked to him. When did I talk to him? Oh, while I got the guys on here, anybody that's watching, you get an early deal on this shit. Okay. You can either go online or call Kenny and use my code Cyclops10 and get 10% off anything that he carries. I'm talking about all the accessories, all the way up to a full-blown rifle build. It'll save you 10%. I'm doing a video for Black Friday weekend, and Kenny told me that ahead of time. You shouldn't have told me ahead of time, Kenny. Oh, you ignorant fuck. You knew better than that. Oh, you ridiculous son of a bitch. But now you're going to have to honor it if the guys find out. But yeah, 10% off anything he does. And like I say, I got offered, it was $7,000 and something else, hell, a kit or something. I don't remember what I got offered for that Rim-X, but it was $7,000 and something for that Rim-X of mine. I told Kenny here just a few weeks ago. We talked on the phone yesterday before. And that guy's like, man, come on, sell it to me, man. You can, because he was just been in a bunch of videos and shit. And I told him, I said, dude, you can have that gun built cheaper than that from Kenny, brand new, and put a scope on it, you know? No, I want that one. It's like, hell no, that son of a bitch ain't going nowhere. That gun and my dad's guns ain't going anywhere. Everything else, it's like, you know, I treat that shit like a hooker. You know, I'm going to leave town. I ain't going to call you back. You know, I'm selling it. You know? But yeah, the Rim-X, it ain't going anywhere. And probably, honestly, that kid rifle that I got is the same way. It's not going anywhere. And I know all the kids will shoot like that. Josh has a lot more experience with them than I do. And especially like Don, Rimfire SS, you know, that's his home run swing. But the one that I've got, because it's the only one I've ever owned, but once I got it and saw how it shot, it's kind of like, hey man, you want to swap that for another one? Because kid reached out and wanted to know if I wanted to change something. I don't remember what the hell it was. Change the hammer or some shit. It's like, hell no, this son of a bitch shoots good. I ain't changing nothing. So still love my nerdles, yeah, buddy.
With Kenny, where do people find the information to get in contact with him and stuff like that?
Desert Precision Gunworks or Eagle Eye Shooting on YouTube. And here, I'm assuming the Google or the YouTube rules are the same by everybody's country. I wouldn't think it was just the US, but who the fuck knows? But like here, I can go on there and talk about his guns and talk about Desert Precision Gunworks and stuff like that, but I can't leave a link.
Yeah.
Because it's linking to a firearms manufacturer or whatever. So I can't leave a link. And that's part of the reason I was doing some reviews for Primary Arms, and they wanted me to be an affiliate for them, like I do for Arkin and Blackhound and stuff. And they wanted me to be an affiliate for them, but they wouldn't let me use a code. I had to have a link. Well, I can't put a link on my channel and send people to Primary Arms, so I would have to set up a website like guys do with links to their stores and all that kind of stuff. It's like, screw it. Nah. No, I'm not going to do that, man. I've got a YouTube channel, and that's as far into it as I'm going to get. You know, all the other stuff, I don't know how to do that shit. I'm not interested in learning how to do that shit. You know, I just want to make videos.
Actually, with Kenny, I'm actually going to send you an email, and hopefully, Kenny, if you have time, it'd be great to have you on here as well, so we can have a good conversation, especially around the precision shooting and, you know, all the other little things that you do. It's really, really, you know, what I've seen on YouTube and the videos, it's really fascinating. So it would be good to have a conversation.
Yeah, what I like about Kenny's videos, seriously, I know guys want to go on there and see the shooting and stuff, but I worked in quality control in a machine shop for a long time, and a big manufacturing shop with a machine shop too. But I like Kenny's videos where he's on there making something and show behind the scenes how he does it and how he measures it out and figures it all out. Like I said, those to me, I can sit there and watch that shit for hours.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like sitting around watching. It sounds retarded, but welding videos. If you've never looked at a welding video on YouTube, you need to look at that shit. Because I'm dead serious, man. Them guys that can do that, they are artists, literally artists, the way they get through doing it. And when I watch Kenny do all the way he machines and the care he takes in it, like I said, that's real cool to me. Hey, man, I got to run, let the dogs out.
Yeah, no worries.
Simmons Pro Target. It's a good scope.
It's a good scope. It's a Wally World scope, but I picked it up for clearance of $50 and actually seems to track close and true. You know, that is, you know, like as you guys would have seen in many of Joe's videos and everything that he does, tracking of the scopes are, you know, hyper important. You know, if you don't have a scope that doesn't track correctly, or it doesn't find its true way, it can certainly throw off your precision, especially, like in Benchrest. You click up to 100 meters, or you come down to 50, or when you get involved with fly shoots, sometimes we do a lot of longer range fly shoots with 22 LR. A lot of our stuff are also done subsonic, so having a scope that actually can track correctly is hugely important. And a lot of the other stuff that goes with shooting is also extremely important to ensure that you have the accuracy, whether you're just having fun or anything like that. And I'm actually going to release a video a little bit later today about more accuracy tips and tricks and everything like that. And I'm not going to really talk about scopes too much in that video, but Joe truly is the man, the myth, the legend that has everything to do with scopes. And I'm just trying to look up Joe's code at the moment, but Joe does have an affiliate code as well. If you're looking for a great deal on scopes, you need to jump on his YouTube page, because about a month ago, Joe released a video. It seems like the YouTube gods have decided to demonetize him. Joe is by far one of the leading men for scopes. He's also one of the guys that are out there to really push forward as far as the honest reviews, and the trailblazer in that. And jump on his channel, check out that link, check out those affiliate codes, and really get behind the man, because this type of honesty and this type of support is something that in the entire YouTube community is great for. And all the channels that are on YouTube are truly there. And I've experienced it myself, creating videos, the support that I've received, it's simply mind blowing. And Josh from Pursuit of Accuracy, he came on my channel as well. We had a great conversation. So yeah, get behind your favorite creators and support them, whether it's affiliate codes, leaving comments, or even for the smaller guys, watch time. Just simply watch their videos. It makes a huge deal to them. So yeah, get involved.
Oh yeah, man. It's all, and honestly, man, don't get me wrong, man. I like the shit out of Josh. I just like the dude. But I reached out to Josh recently because one thing, I wanted to pick his brain over some 22 stuff, because obviously he knew what he was doing. But as far as a YouTuber, and you have the same thing, Alan. I told you that a couple of times. There's something about it, about a personality or the way you carry yourself, the way you present yourself on YouTube, that you can tell, okay, they're going to, if they stick with it, they're going to be good at this, And when I first started watching Josh, I was watching his, and it's like, he's going to be, that's the reason I'm saying, it won't be a very long period of time, and Josh's channel will overtake mine in subscribers, which, I could not be happier for him. But like I say, you can just tell certain people, it's like, okay, they kind of got it. Kenny's the same way. If you've seen him go do his videos where he's actually shooting and where he's in front of the camera, Kenny's good in front of the camera, but Kenny's swamped with work. He's a gunsmith, a tool and die maker, a machinist. His ass is busy. We used to talk a lot, and luckily his business really took off, because like some of those machines that he's got, they cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. You got to pay for that shit. Yeah. You got to keep your ass working. But what do you say? Would be an honor. I ain't as pretty as Joe, though. God, man, I can't imagine a YouTuber any uglier than I am. It's like, you lying fuck.
Like, I've seen some of the videos from Speedy Gonzalez. He's manufacturing a lot of stocks and barrels and stuff like that, and the machines that he's buying, wildly expensive.
Oh yeah. And, well, hell, that one that Kenny's got, he told me how much it was, and I want to say it was, maybe he'll chime in, but I want to say it was like around $250,000 or something like that. And it was like, and it's on the scale of what they make, it was just kind of mid-level. I mean, it does everything, it does it well, but if you really want to trick it out, and have lasers doing everything, it's like, I mean, that shit can run up into millions of dollars fast, and I think, just my personal opinion, like in my hometown, when I was a kid, there was probably 15 gunsmiths that actually had shops in the town of 100,000 people. Now there's two that actually have a gunsmith, and they won't touch triggers anymore. You can't get a gunsmith in my part of the world to adjust a trigger, as silly as that sounds. They're worried about lawsuits, and there's certain things they won't do. We're used to, every son bitch with a hammer and a screwdriver go in there and work on the trigger. But now it's hard to get somebody to do it because they're worried about, some dickhead going out there and shooting a hole in his foot because he put a 6-ounce trigger,
Jonathan, he's recently built out a budget PA-10308, and it got me waiting to build a precision platform on a budget and just see what it can be done. What would you recommend?
Oh, I don't know, man. That'd be a good question for Kenny.
Yeah, that'd be something I'd go with Kenny.
Yeah.
Maybe Kenny, if you're still around.
And I'll tell you, man, my best luck, I've had some really good luck with 308s, and zero bullshit. The little Walmart Savage varmint ones, the ones that come in the little Rubbermaid stocks that are, I don't know, $450, something like that. I mean, the blue in it is already rusted when you take it out of the box. But I've had a couple of those that we prairie dog with. They shoot the lights out, and I know when we were shooting prairie dogs a lot, if you showed up with a new Remington 700 varmint, but if you showed up with a Savage, it's gonna be like, okay, now you got something that'll shoot, and the Remington 700, you got to shoot it about, you got to lap the barrel and shoot about 300 rounds before it'll ever break in. The Savage, pour some dirt down it, wash it out with Coca-Cola and go to work. Them damn things, you can't tear them up.
Valak, he's binge watching. You're doing some witchcraft. Binge watching some shoot of accuracy videos on I can't speak. Anyway, diminishing returns. The videos are most informative. How does that? Would that come into scopes as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I'm curious to see what Josh and Kenny think, because they've had tier 1 scopes too. To me, maybe not ever $100, but like $1,000 scope is better than a $500 scope, unless somebody's just terribly overpriced, a scope. But every $500 up to $2,000, okay, you're every step, and those are big steps, but every step you got a better scope. There's no doubt in my mind. Okay.
Yep.
50 years ago, maybe that's not the case, but with the internet, it's instant, information exchange. So if you've got a $2,000 scope that won't compete with other $2,000 scopes, people are going to find out. There's no way around it. But just my opinion, from about $2,000 up to $5,000, they get better, but it's smaller increments. Where the difference between a $500,000 scope, and I'm talking about optically, the difference between a $500,000 scope is a big step. $1,000 to $1,500, because that's when you're moving out of the better Chinese stuff to the better Japanese stuff. Okay. Then from there, you move up to some of the best Japanese stuff. And then from then, and some of the entry level European class. And then from then you're entering into the European, the really top tier stuff. And they are better. Like I said, there's no doubt. You can look at them back to back and they're better. But if you look at a Delta Strike or a Tractoric, and 6 months later, it's like, hey, man, you want to look at this Razor? You want to look at my Zero Comp? Check out my Hindstoke, whatever it is. It's going to be, wow, that's nice. I mean, it's, but it's like, how much better is it than the other one? And it's like, you're in your head, you're thinking, money-wise, it's twice as much or 3 times. It's got to be better. But unless you look at them fairly close together, sometimes, and the lighting and the range and everything else comes into it, but it gets harder and harder to see the difference. Now in tracking, reliability, You know, you can take a Night Force NX8, you know, and I mean, just go out and just start zombie killing with that fucking thing, you know, put it on the end of a chain. You can't tear it up, you know, but mechanically, you know, they're beasts. But optically, I think at the point that Night Force taps out is, regardless of how much money I had, I would $2,000 for me is hard. It's hard to spend. And on the scope that I'm getting right now, and I'm making a video on it now, but there's the Valdata G2 is the best scope I've ever owned. And I've owned Smith Bender, Zaborski, Zeiss, Cos. Now, I've never owned a Zero Comp. I've owned a lot of Night Forces and stuff. But for me, about $2,000, that's where it's like, okay, this is better, but it's not significantly better.
Yeah.
You know, and like starting Monday, now I have a video on it, but starting Monday, Val is offering, with a code that we worked out, which, by the way, I don't get anything out of it. It's just Val's a good friend of mine. $1,100 off of the Recon G2. Now that brings it down to the price of about probably a fucking Vortex, you know, Viper HD or something like that. And we're talking about an entirely different level of scope. This is true tier 1 type scopes. And he's fixing to put a bunch of those on sale for a short period of time. And he's got to overstock them, and he's got to move some shit around. But that's the best scope I've ever owned, the G2, without a doubt in my mind. I've got a G2 Mini, and the Valdatas, for me, that's where I got to tap out. The Smith Bender PM2, it's great, man. But when you start talking about $3,000 and up, I don't have it. There's no conceivable way I would buy it. So you know, if I did a video for Tangent Theta that are $5,000, $6,000, and somebody asks, hey man, would you buy that? Oh shit, no. You know, if you see me doing a Tangent Theta video, they gave it to me or it's on loan. I didn't buy that. You know, I'm buying that. For me, that'd be like buying I don't know, man, buying a $15,000 television or some shit. No, I'm not buying that. You know, it looks cool as hell at the premium. I'm not buying that, you know. And there's a certain level of diminishing returns. And Josh would probably know more about that than me because he shoots competitively, and those guys have so many higher tier scopes. He's probably spent more time behind them than I have. And
yeah, he just mentioned that.
Yeah.
So he thinks the NRL, the Optics, you know, the best.
That's it. But like where Josh is talking about the track tour, that Leopold, whatever it is, the HD5 or whatever, he did a video on it. And those type of scopes, you can see the bullet going through the air. You can see the impact out to 350 yards through Mirage. Do you need better than that? I mean, maybe it looks a little cooler, but do you actually need that little bit more? And for me and my money, I don't need that level of precision. I just don't, you know. And I don't shoot in 1 mile challenges.
Yeah.
You know, but that might change everything drastically. But because I'm just a recreational shooter at the range, for me, it's money. I'd rather spend that money on better camera gear. I'd rather buy another gun, you know, and put I've never shot anywhere that right now that I feel like, you know, I could do better if I had a better scope. I don't have a range that far. I'm not under those kind of conditions. If I were, I could see justifying it. But for what I do, I can't justify it. They're just, you know, it's kind of like, hey man, you want an $800 or 800 horsepower Dodge Challenger? You know, it's going to cost about $90,000 for what?
Yeah.
You know, to run down to the store to get something? You know, hell if I need that for, you know, no, I don't need that. I don't need that level of performance, you know. And but I do think there's like I say, diminishing returns.
Yeah. So we'll do a couple more questions from the chat. Rimfire range relaxation, welcome. just ordered himself a EP 5 to 25 by 56. Anxious to slap it on his 6 ARC.
Yeah, I've got quite a few Arkans, and they've all and I mean it's a Chinese scope, so with and it's not Arkin, it's less expensive scope. There's more variation from individual scope to individual scope. You buy, Josh and I both are big on track, and we know the guys personally, but you buy $1,800 toric, you look at 30 of them, they're all identical. There's no difference. You don't see a difference unless somebody picks up a nail and scratches it. They're all going to look exactly the same. The turrets feel the same. With the budget scopes, and that's something that guys get frustrated with. But like if I do a scope review, Josh does one, Kenny does one, Elijah, whoever it is, you have a sample size of one. You only have that one. You don't have 40 of them to compare it to, and that's part of the reason I like the Arkin so much is I've had so many of them, and there'll be little flaws here and there. Yeah, the numbers don't line up on the parallax. Who the hell cares? This one, the turrets are they're real loud, where the other one's not quite as loud, or some simple Simon shit. This one the magnification's stiffer. But mechanically, how they operate. They all are solid. Like I said, there might be little bitty things about them, and that's with any budget scopes. It's just with the Arkans, the quality control is higher, so you don't get that gigantic variation. Now, occasionally one bad will come through anywhere, but it's not such an insane amount. Like with the Vortex Diamondback Tactical is a good example. My buddy has one. And I put it right up against any $500 scope optically. It's that clear. But I've seen some at 100 yards, you wouldn't be able to see a 45 caliber bullet hole through a white piece of paper. I mean, I'm dead ass serious. The distortion, everything is in them that bad. There's such a variation in what you get.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I tell people, that like to go to gun shows. If you're going to buy a scope from a gun show, don't buy the one that's sitting outside the box. Buy that, I want the new one in the box. No, you do not. Get the one that's unwrapped, because that's the one you cherry picked to show everybody. Don't get the one in the box. So when you get home, that ain't shit.
Yeah.
Gun show scopes are made they're the reject scopes from all the components that none of the manufacturers would approve. And they're not going to throw them away.
Have you ever experienced that? Like a manufacturer sending you a cherry picked one?
I have. And there's nothing I can do about it, but this is my thinking. If I was CZ and I was sending rimfire out to Josh, you can't research CZ 457 without finding Josh. That's how I found Josh.
Yeah, true.
If I were CZ and I had a new target version of the 457 and I wanted to get it on YouTube, and we're going to send one to Josh, let's go ahead and check this one. He's a CZ 457 dude. It would make sense not to just send him a random one, or at least somebody go back there and shoot it a couple of times. Make damn sure that nothing's bad wrong with it, And being the one-eyed fat dude that does scopes, just if it were me and I had a small scope company, we're going to send it to Joe, and he don't give a shit, and I'll tell you if it's a piece of crap. Let's go ahead and look at that one.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I've been to two different places that one of them I walked in, there's a rack of scopes. They're all identical. And there's one that says hold for Joe Ray. Okay, now there's hundreds of them, but this one says hold for Joe. Yeah. So obviously they double checked that one or triple checked it or whatever. But I've had a few that I know were cherry picked, but the majority of them are not. They just send me one off the assembly line. But I don't sandbag them either. If something gets damaged in shipping, I worked in quality control. Anything can get by. I had a cause 5 to 25, man, very expensive, very elite scope, and the parallax wouldn't stay still. It moved, and I mean you could see it moving. I filmed it, see it shot to shot that it would move, and it shouldn't do that. I mean that's a super elite scope, but anybody can have a problem. But that didn't mean the scope shit. It's just I had a bad sample. you know,
Yeah.
and like, hey, we only have a sample size of one, but yeah, I know for a fact I've had stuff that's been cherry picked, but you know, the upside for me is when my buddies buy a scope off of me, it's like, what do you think? Is it a good one? It's like, they sent it to the scope, dude. It should be.
It should be.
You know, if it is, you're buying one off of me. Yeah, there's a better than average chance it's not a bad one. You see me out there twisting on it, beating the fuck out of it with an anal probe, and it's still held up. Yeah, it's okay. You know.
So we do have a question here about purchasing a scope from Valak. Once again, you follow up on the $2,000 USD scope for best all-round scope. Any particular models or brands that stick out? He's hearing Track Talk being the holy grail. He's tempted to buy it, but he needs your blessing.
Don't hesitate, man. Just don't, man. Buy the Toric, buy the GPO, or buy the Delta Striker. Just size LRP S3. Yeah, that's a like the Toric, but seems dark. See, that's one the size. The Leupold Mark IV. That's at. I'm trying to think. Josh just did another one, some kind of HD Leupold. I don't have one, but Josh did it. That's a nice scope. But that I'll tell you something else too, man. If you look around, those Gen 1 Vortex razors, I think they're like 4 to 20, 4 to 25, something like that. And it was their first premium scope like that. I mean, the Gen 2 is way better. The Gen 3 is better than that. But the Gen 1s, if you can find one, you can find one of those pretty cheap in that $1,500 range and under. And those are good scopes. Yeah, Razor Gen 3 under 2. Now, I hadn't seen that, you know. And I mean, you might find one, you know, a YouTuber did a video on, or one of the, you know, dealers snuck out in their jacket, but I hadn't seen that Gen 3 that cheap. But when I get one, actually, I've got one. I literally have had a Gen 3 now for about 6 months. It is still in the box. I've never even taken it out of the box. I've got to do a video on it, but because I'm aware of where my audience is, I didn't want to do a $3,000 scope going into hunting season. No, it's like, I mean, that's cool, but what the fuck are you showing me that for? You know, wait till after the first of the year, and then because I've got a couple of really, really badass scopes, I'm gonna drop on everybody after the first of the year. But weird questions. For less price over the years, do you see a scope having a lifespan? No, the coatings on them, like you can't clean them with a Windex. That's what's wrong with all the old scopes out there. And if you pick them up and turn it in the light and look at the coatings, where they're missing is because people clean them with ammonia, and you can't clean them with that. It takes all the coatings off of it. But there we go. See, this is Josh shooting in. You know, he's shooting in competition. Like, say, for me, I've only played with it, you know, just picked it up, dicked around with it and stuff. But I hadn't even put it in a fixture or anything and tried it. So I don't know. But I've heard a lot of guys complain about the Leupolds not tracking well. Hell, I just bought one. You know, I told you, I think before we ever got on the thing, I just bought one here a few weeks ago because the Leupolds that I've had, and I buy the fixed powers, but shit, you turn it, it moves. You stop, it stops.
Yeah.
You know, but I've heard guys complain about them, but I'm not shooting a variable power, so I don't know. You know, but I'm a little, everything that Vortex does, I treat it like a stripper that told me, no, honey, you're special to me. That's the way, I treat every Vortex that way. I really do. I just don't, I don't think there's any Vortex out there. But I'll put it like this. There is none. There is no Vortex out there that offers the best value for the dollar. You can't employ that many people and spend that millions of dollars just in the States every year on marketing and the money's coming from somewhere. You know, and unless they got a fountain out there that's, you know, gushing oil out of the ground, you know, it's coming out of the scopes. It just is. You know, and I mean, there's, like I say, the Gen 3 Razor, it's a bad son of a bitch. But for the money, I'd buy the Valdata. at full price, I'd buy the size, the one of the Leopolds like that, some of those cop Leopolds that because some of those things get way the fuck up there, but some of them law enforcement Leopolds, if you've never messed with any of those are terrifying. I mean, they are state of the art. They build them for the military, for law enforcement. They're not holding anything back. The military's got deep pockets. Law enforcement place to do too. Some of that shit's really spooky good too. Steiner's got some real high-end stuff that's really, really good. But Josh is the one does the precision shooting. So all I've got is the glass to look at.
Yeah.
And I'm tracking it at 100 yards. I'm not out there shooting it 1,500 times through a 338 and then see what it does.
Yeah.
I'm just out there with the damn thing in the fixture, playing with it. Yeah, Weaver 36 are bad. Bad for that. Yeah, I've got 24s. I don't like the 36s. They're too tight for me, and I fight too hard getting in the eye box. But yeah, I like the Weaver T series, but I like the front AO. I don't like the side AO ones. And I bought one of those a while back.
Have you had a chance to have a look at the 60 power Athlons yet?
I have.
Any good?
They're budget glass. You can't magnify a budget scope that many times. I mean, Smith Bender doesn't make, there's a reason Leupold doesn't make an 80 power. They stop at 45 because it's diminishing returns on optically. You can only bend that image and make that glass so thick before it degrades. Now, if you wanted to, if it was unlimited budget, sure, they could all make an 80 power scope. That would just be incredible. It costs more than a new car. That the glass would have to be just that perfect, for it to work. And then the exit pupil would still be a fraction of a millimeter. It's just math. Trying to think, I think it's a Heinstoke that builds something that's like a 72 millimeter front end. And, now you get something like that. Yeah, it's got a bigger exit pupil, but, you take something with a 56 millimeter front end, you crank it to 80 power, you're at fractions of a millimeter on the exit pupil. And, and that's just how big it is. That doesn't have anything to do with how much glass that damn thing's going through. You're talking about the difference between a screen protector on an iPad and a Coke bottle. That's the kind of differences you're talking about on those lenses in there. And I mean, there's just, if you've ever looked at a car with bulletproof glass, from the outside, you can tell it's bulletproof glass. Now, you don't have to get close to it, but when you go to look in it or look at it, you can tell because it's not perfectly smooth. There's no way to make it that thick and laminate all that together. And scopes are a lot like that, man. You can only make it so thick before it's going to start distorting. And I've got a buddy that's into telescopes, real into telescopes. And you see at the stores, you see these 500, 600 power telescopes. It's not like that. They've got a front end on it about that damn big. They don't magnify like that. They just, the glass is so perfect that what you see, this is what your eye can't see because this is, lets you resolve that image that your eye can't do without that kind of aid. But 80 power, just strap a telescope on. Yeah. Now I've seen that 8 to 80 March. Now it's terrifying. It's insane what you can see. At 100 yards, if there's not even mirage, you can actually see where the powder burn from the 22 caliber hole went through. You can see where the rifling marks are. It's insane what you can see through that thing. But like I say, I've never seen a situation where 45 power Leupold wouldn't do anything that'll do. But like I say, I'm not a competitive shooter anymore, so there may be situations it is a big edge. I mean, they sell the damn thing, so somebody needs it.
Yeah, like I've had a one chance to have a look through one of the 60 power March scopes, and just how clear they are. And Tom over at Moondog Industries, he's recently done a review on it as well. And holy dooly, if I had the money, and what Jason says here, Yeah, g'day, mate. And unfortunately, here for us in Australia, $2,000 in the US costs us more like 3.5 by the time it gets here.
Yeah.
A lot of these like scopes, we get outpriced. Where a common scope for you guys is outpriced for most of us here,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Well, that the company Zero Tech is based there in Australia, and I've got one of their scopes coming, and
Okay.
I've got some Bible stuff. That Athlon, I'm not trying to slam it. It's just, and I film through the scope. So when you're talking about, if you look at my channel, you don't see any 45 power scopes on there. You don't see any 32 power scopes on there. There's no way to film something with that small of an exit pupil and get a good image down range. So I tell the companies, if they're like, hey, the new Leupold is a good example. I think there's a 4-16, 6-24, 8-32.
Yep.
Leupold, when they get in stock, they're supposed to be sending me one. I don't want the 8-32. Now, even though that might be what I personally want, that's not what I want to film through, because 32 power, the exit pupil is going to be so small. It's hard enough to get the image right to your eye. It's almost impossible with the camera. So all it's going to do is make the scope look bad. The 45 power Leupold is that's the highest power scope that I've used that on camera the image is usable. Optimized for that power. There's nothing in there moving. It's optimized for this magnification only. So like I say, it doesn't have to tick boxes all the way through. But
Valek says, speaking of telescopes, he saw a group of shooters last week using a cheap, small $200 telescope as a spotting scope. I looked through it and it was pretty good at 200 meters. Could see all the holes easily. Yeah, like spotting scopes are very common in Benchrest shooting, especially when you're doing light class rifles. A lot of them you're fixed with 6 power scopes where you're shooting at 50 and then you got to reach out to 100 with a 6 power. Can be very challenging. So I just can't remember the brand off. It's over there somewhere, but I just bought a cheap Amazon special. It's a 60. Oh, no, it's a 75 power spotting scope, and it works an absolute treat when dealing with those light class rifles. And sometimes we even use it when the Mirage is just absolutely crazy as well, just to have that little bit of an extra view on the targets. But Valek, if you're going to those comps and stuff like that, spotting scopes are one of the necessary pieces of equipment that most of the guys will be having to use. Some of them will strap it to the side of the rifle. Some have little tripods. Some have big tripods. Like there's many different ways that people use them, but they are definitely needed.
I'll put it like this, man. I don't know a ton about them, but I see a lot of them at the trade shows. And I actually own a couple of nice ones, but I end up giving them away because if they're in these Texas, what the hell am I going to look at, But for me, at $300, you can get a reliable precision scope. You can get an SWFA fixed power. For $500, you can get an Arkin, and then you can just go up from there. On spotting scopes, to me, a usable spotting scope, something that really resolves the target, that has good glass, good mechanics, good build. If you don't have $1,000, buy a cheap Amazon telescope. Don't buy a cheap spotting scope. Because the first time you look through a good one, it doesn't have to be a Swarovski. It doesn't have to be top tier. When you look through a good spotting scope, Vortex got a couple of good spotting scopes. And it's probably all, the same company builds them for everybody. But if a cheap spotting scope, it gives me a headache trying to fight it. You're just constantly dicking with it, trying to get the image right. And it's just, they're more frustration than they are help. I would rather put that money into a better scope.
Here's a different question. What kind of editing software? For me, I use CapCut.
I use LumaFusion. As a matter of fact, I've had a second channel for about 3 years now, and I hadn't put anything on it. But I have so many guys reaching out to me about editing that I've started a second channel, and that's what the channel is going to be about, is this LumaFusion app that I use and editing on it. And it's all going to, most of it is, I'm off camera. It's just going to be, you know, look down on it, you know, highlight what I'm doing. But I use LumaFusion. And part of it is I know I could go to DaVinci, you know, one of the high end that you pay by the month. One thing is that irritates me. But the other thing is with the LumaFusion, because I can use it on my iPads, when I go to the range, I can take the SD cards out of the cameras. I can airdrop the stuff out of the phones directly to the iPad, make sure the video's there, make sure the focus is there. And the app goes with me. You know, with a desktop, I don't, you know, of course, you don't take a desktop to the range, but with the laptop, on some of the stuff, if you can't get the signal, you know, because out there, like I say, the app and everything's on there, I don't need a signal to edit. And you know, when I'm old, you know, old as hell, old people don't want to learn new shit, you know, and I think if I ever reach the point where I feel like it's holding me back editing, then I'll change. Like, you know, I went from a cheap iPad mini to a better phone, and then to my first little compact camera, then to DSLR, and then went through about 4 different DSLRs, and then the cameras that I'm using now, and the lens has kind of been the same thing, you know, is try to start out cheap and then work my way up. And now, if I had to go back to using, I don't know, if I had to go back to using iMovie or something like that, I wouldn't want to do it. I mean, I just wouldn't. The editing process is a lot of fun to me, being able to stack a lot of layers and do a lot of different shit. With all the sound effects and transitions and overlays and stuff like that. Something that I would just have to edit over and over and over and over and over, because you have to render it every time. On because that's what I was using iMovie, and iMovie will do some cool stuff, but you can only put 3 layers. So if you've got anything else you're putting on top of it, you have to render it and then start back over with the full video. Every time you render it, you're making a copy of a copy of a copy, and the resolution goes down and the quality goes down. And the audio track starts getting off by just a beat, you know, if you do it enough times. And with that LumaFusion and the iPad, you know, I think it'll take 6 layers of video, and I think it takes 7 layers of audio, and that's on top of the main track. So unless you're putting over 6 layers, you don't have to render it. Now, there are times I've had to, you know, something that's got a lot of text, a lot of graphics, but I'll only render one small section of it, because I don't want the whole thing degrading. I want the image to look as sharp as I can. Guys that have watched Josh's channel and some of my newer videos, the biggest difference is it's the lens, the glass. Man, you can't get a $300 camera lens. I don't give a shit what you put it on. It doesn't look like a $1,500 camera lens. You know, they will not resolve the image like that. You know, it's not gonna look like that. And I hate that they're so damn expensive. I hate that shit. But I want, you know, Josh and I, you know, we're competitive. You know, we're doing the YouTube thing. We want our shit to be the best.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have a crew. You know, we're both one-man shows, but we want the audio to be good, the video to be good, and everything else. But yeah.
So, last question, Joe, are you doing all your editing on an iPad? He has Final Cut Pro. He doesn't use it, still using Adobe Premiere, powerful but not friendly.
Yeah, I still do everything on the iPad, man. I don't even own a computer. I don't remember if it was MacBook Air or Pro or something like that. My wife's got it, but I just like the iPads. And I don't even use keyboards. I use the touch part of it. I don't use the keyboards on them. But now the ones I got, they're not the iPad that came out of Walmart. You know, the one I'm talking into now that I'm using the camera on, it's 11-inch Pro, 1 terabyte. It was about $1,300. My main iPad that I edit on is the 13 with 2 terabytes, and I think it was right at $2,000. You know, because if you take, you know, the first layer is the main track is 4K, and my camera will only render at 180 bits per second, which is still high resolution. But then if I put multiple layers on top of it, a regular iPad won't. It'll crash it. It can't handle it. It's too much. You can do that on the. I've got a 15 iPhone Pro or whatever, 1 terabyte. You can't do it on it either. It can't. The processor's too slow.
Yeah, right.
Rendering it, and it can handle some 4K like out of a cheap camera, but it can't handle real with a lot of data. Like if I film at the range now, if I mess around on my phone and push ProRes for something, I mean, 1 minute of ProRes is 6 gigabytes of information. You can't edit that on a regular iPad. It cannot handle, because it's like 800 megabytes a second. It can't handle that. It just do it. But like I said, and it kills my wife, because every year around Christmas I'll buy her a new iPad. They're $350, $400, and I told her. She asked me here a while back. I bought a camera lens, and she said, "Did you just buy another iPad?" And I said, "No, that was a camera lens." She said, "When did camera lenses start costing $1,600? And I told her, "You better glad I'm not into photography. So that shit's $20,000, $30,000. I said, "No, I'm not doing the high end shit, And but if Josh gets a G Master Sony lens, okay, now I got to up my game. Now I'm watching an L lens. I can't let Josh beat me like that." But you look at Josh's videos now, because he's a big part of the reason that I decided screw it. Because I mean, overnight, because I watched all his videos, and overnight it was just like, holy shit, look at that. Because I mean, I called him up, man, did you get a new camera? It's like, no, dude, that's a $2,000 lens. It's like, okay, that's money well spent.
Yeah.
My the video that I'm doing for Black Friday, I filmed it on an anamorphic lens. I bought me an anamorphic movie lens, the one that squeezes it and then turns it into cinescope. Anyway, I bought one of those damn things.
Yeah, this would be cool.
I just used it inside. It's the first time I've used it, and I'm kind of curious what guys think when they see it. I'm curious to see if anybody notices, or if it's like, damn, that looks good. When I went to this new lens that I've been using about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had a lot of guys reach out. It's like, holy shit, that video looked good. And it's like, that lens was expensive, I'm curious to see if anybody notices with the anamorphic, because on the sides it's kind of like, gets kind of a waterfall look, and like the bokeh, instead of being round, it's oval. And,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what people think about it.
Well, definitely look forward to that. Joe, mate, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time, and I just want to say thank you once again for joining me here on this stream. Huge shout out to everybody who has come along, Josh and George and Valak for your questions, Hasbro. What are we scrolling through here? Kenny from Eagle Eye, Long Rifle, mate. Everybody, TJ.
Questions, man.
Nibs, Walnutted Steel, Aussie, Australian Firearms. Massive shout out to you guys. Thanks for your time and jumping on. And that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Seriously, I enjoy doing this shit, man. It's a lot of fun, and you'll ask me to come back. Some of the other guys is like, no,
oh yeah,
no. What do you say? Anal probe? Oh hell no! You don't get back. Did he mention hookers? No, fuck no. He can't.
You gotta have a talk about some hookers occasionally.
Yeah. I hear you, man. I mean,
sometimes it's just that scratch you got to itch,
Well, what's amazing is, guys, when I meet my wife the first time, I was doing a live stream with somebody. I don't remember who it was, and they're like, "Man, you wouldn't be talking like that if your wife was there." My wife, she was sitting there. She said, "I'm right here. I've been listening to this shit since he was a teenager. This ain't nothing new." That's somebody who's got about 100 damn fetishes. She's got a closet full of costumes. It's like, she's dressed like all the village people. Every fetish. It's part of the reason it took me so long to get into YouTube, man. I couldn't afford it buying her fetish outfits. They're actually for me, but
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, kind of for me. But I told her we were younger, I can't remember the name of the song. She could. She's not here right now, but it was some. It was Radar Love by Golden Earring, long time ago. Rock song, that heavy, hard beat. And we had just started sleeping together, and we were out somewhere, and somebody asked us, do y'all ever, have sex to music going on, trying to match the beat. And most teenagers, they're kind of shy about that. And I told him, I can't get my dick on hard unless Radar Love goes on.
Yeah.
If nobody's got Radar Love to play, I can't get it hard.
Just can't get your groove on.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's kind of like we got to scratch one of them fetish itches, just straight. Hell no, somebody's going to shove a Coke bottle up my butt. We're going to get something wild. This straight, man on woman missionary. Fuck that. Oh no, I'd rather jerk off. Yeah.
All right, mate. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure you check out our channels. Plenty of awesome stuff coming up. I've got next weekend, what'll be 6 p.m. Saturday Eastern Standard Time, or Sunday, roughly around about that 10 a.m. Australian time. I've got Tom from Moondog Industries coming on. Going to be a really cool conversation with him. Same for, I'm going to shoot Kenny an email, see if we can arrange a time for that. So make sure you check out my community page. That's where I'm going to put all the announcements, plus Instagram. And Joe, where can all the people find you? And
I'm just on YouTube. I've got an Instagram, but I go on there about, I don't know, every day or two or something like that. Just basically check who I went to high school with that's died. But if you seriously, if any of the guys are still watching or see this, man, I don't like telling people look for this video or look for that. But the video that I'm working on, the Black Friday deals, like I said, there's some good deals on there. Like I said, the Valdosta G2 is $1,100 off. Now that's the biggest discount on anything. But like Kenny's stuff, 10% off. Don't give a shit. If you wanted to polish a bow handle or build a complete gun, that can save hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So, and I've got some other good discounts on some other stuff like that. And, but yeah, watch for that video just to save some money. Immediately watch it and then unsubscribe from me and push thumbs down. I don't like that. Hey man, give me a thumbs up. Hit me the tell me to fuck off. But at least watch the video and get all these codes to go get shit cheap.
Exactly right. And TJ, yeah, hopefully, Joe, that's something we can arrange. Having Josh and a few other guys, so we can have a good talk, and maybe that's something we can organize towards the end of the year. Like maybe end of year sort of a fun stream. So that'd be fun.
Yeah, Tom. I'm looking forward to Tom. He's good, man. On these live streams, he's like Josh, man. He's, I know almost nothing about almost everything, but Tom's real knowledgeable, man. He's a good dude, man. He's good people.
Awesome. All right, I look forward to it. All right, Joe, it's fascinating, but we can talk all.
Fucking, I gotta pee. Normally this red face. It's just my bladder's about to burst. So I'm going to have to go. Thanks
All right, mate.
again,
I'll catch you later.
Have me on, man.
All right. Bye, everyone.